I need to talk to the person who's tired, the one who's been strong for everybody else. The one people call when they're breaking down, but when you break down, you don't even know who to call. The one who keeps smiling in public but cries in private. You've been asking one question over and over again: God, why me? Why is it always me? Why does it feel like the pressure never lets up? Why does it seem like as soon as you survive one battle, another one shows up at your door? What if I told you it's not because you're forgotten, it's because you're trusted? God doesn't test the weak to break them. He tests the strong to build them. There is something inside of you that you don't even see yet. There is capacity in you that comfort could never reveal. And so when the pressure rises, it's not proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're growing. Gold is tested in fire because it's valuable. Diamonds are formed under pressure because they're rare. And if your life feels like heat and pressure right now, maybe it's because there's something rare about you. The strongest people are tested because they can carry what others can't. You've survived things that should have taken you out. You've walked through storms that should have destroyed your faith. And yet here you are. Still standing, still believing, still hoping, even when hope feels fragile. God tests the strongest because He's preparing them for something heavier. You can't handle elevation without endurance. You can't manage influence without integrity. You can't carry purpose without pressure. The test isn't to expose your weakness. It's to strengthen your roots. See, when you're strong, people assume you don't need help. They assume you don't get tired. They assume you don't feel the weight. But God sees the hidden tears. He sees the silent prayers. He sees the nights you almost gave up but didn't. And sometimes the test is not about what you can do, it's about what you will trust Him to do. Because strength without surrender becomes pride. And God loves you too much to let your strength replace your dependence on Him. So He allows situations that remind you that even the strong need Him. You've been carrying everyone else. Maybe this season is teaching you to let Him carry you. The strongest people are tested because they are called. Called to lead. Called to influence. Called to break generational patterns. Called to walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. And calling always comes with resistance. If the enemy can't stop your purpose, he'll try to exhaust you. If he can't defeat you, he'll try to distract you. But the very fact that the battle is intense is evidence that your destiny is significant. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every delay taught you patience. Every closed door taught you resilience. Every heartbreak taught you compassion. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. And here's the truth, God tests the strongest people because He knows they won't quit. You may bend, but you don't break. You may cry, but you don't collapse. You may question, but you don't walk away. There is greatness wrapped inside your endurance. So when the pressure rises again, and it might, don't see it as proof that you're cursed. See it as confirmation that you're capable. Capable of more faith, more growth, more impact. You are stronger than this season. And this season is shaping a version of you that you couldn't become any other way. Hold on. Keep praying. Keep believing. The test is not the end of your story. It's the training ground for your calling. When life feels heavier for you than it does for everyone else, it's easy to assume you're being punished. It's easy to look around and wonder why others seem to have it easier, why their path looks smoother, why their battles don't look as intense. But what if the weight you're carrying isn't punishment? What if it's trust? What if the pressure you feel is evidence that you've been entrusted with something significant? Trust is never given to the unprepared. Responsibility is never handed to the unreliable. And pressure is never placed on something that cannot handle it. When a builder lays a strong foundation, he does it because he plans to build higher. When God allows a test in your life, it's not because He's trying to break you. It's because He sees a level in you that you haven't reached yet. He sees endurance you haven't discovered. He sees courage you haven't activated. He sees leadership you haven't stepped into. The truth is, you've already proven stronger than you think. You've survived days you thought would crush you. You've endured silence when you desperately wanted answers. You've kept showing up when quitting felt easier. That kind of resilience doesn't go unnoticed. It builds credibility. And credibility leads to trust. The strongest people are often given the hardest assignments, not because they deserve suffering, but because they can carry responsibility. When you're trusted with more, it means there is more inside of you. It means there is depth, stability, and potential that require stretching. Stretching is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable, but trust always stretches you beyond where you are. Sometimes you want relief, but heaven sees readiness. Sometimes you want escape, but God sees expansion. The test is not proof that you're failing, it's proof that you're capable. It's confirmation that you can handle levels others cannot. If you were fragile, the pressure would have crushed you already. The fact that you're still standing means you were built for this. Trust also means expectation. When someone believes in you, they expect something from you. God's trust in you means He expects growth, maturity, and impact. He expects you to rise. He expects you to develop. And while that expectation can feel heavy, it is also empowering. It means your life carries weight. It means your decisions matter. It means your influence will reach further than you can see right now. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "What does this reveal about me?" The weight reveals strength. The pressure reveals capacity. The test reveals trust. You are not being singled out to suffer, you are being selected to grow. And the very fact that you're being tested is proof that you are trusted with something greater than this moment. Comfort can make you complacent. When everything is smooth, when doors open easily, when applause comes quickly, you rarely discover who you truly are. You only discover what you prefer. But pressure has a different purpose. Pressure doesn't ask what you like, it reveals what you're made of. It exposes your foundation. It stretches your limits. It shows you the difference between surface strength and soul strength. Anyone can be positive when life is predictable. Anyone can talk about faith when the outcome is guaranteed. But when the pressure rises, when the timeline shifts, when the support fades, that's when your true capacity begins to surface. Pressure strips away the performance. It removes the filters. It forces you to confront what's real inside of you. Think about it, muscles only grow when they face resistance. Without tension, there is no development. Without strain, there is no strengthening. In the same way, your character, your faith, your resilience expand when they are stretched. The very thing that feels like it's crushing you is actually increasing your capacity. It's enlarging your endurance. It's deepening your perspective. Pressure also reveals what needs reinforcement. If there are cracks in your mindset, pressure exposes them. If there are weak habits, pressure magnifies them. Not to shame you, but to show you where growth is necessary. You can't strengthen what you refuse to see. And sometimes the only way to see it clearly is when life presses against you. There are parts of you that comfort could never awaken. Courage is born in confrontation. Patience is born in delay. Wisdom is born in difficulty. If everything always worked out instantly, you would never learn persistence. If every opportunity came easily, you would never develop discipline. Pressure teaches you how to stay when quitting feels logical. It teaches you how to believe when results are invisible. The truth is, you have more in you than you realize. But untapped potential stays hidden until something forces it out. Pressure pushes you beyond what feels safe. It demands that you rise to a level you didn't plan for. It calls out leadership you didn't know you had. It activates creativity, problem solving, and resilience you didn't know were inside you. And here's the powerful part: once pressure reveals your capacity, you can never unsee it. You begin to recognize your own strength. You start to trust your ability to endure. You stop underestimating yourself because you've seen what you can survive. So instead of fearing the pressure, understand its purpose. It is not there to destroy you. It is there to define you. It is there to show you that your limits were lower than your potential. And when you come out on the other side, you won't just be relieved, you'll be stronger, wiser, and more aware of the depth that was inside you all along. Being strong can become a habit. You learn how to handle things on your own. You learn how to fix problems, manage emotions, and carry responsibilities without asking for help. People admire you for it. They depend on you for it. Over time, strength becomes your identity. But there is a subtle danger in that kind of strength when it stands alone. Strength without surrender can quietly turn into self-reliance, and self-reliance can slowly replace dependence on God. You can be strong and still be exhausted. You can be capable and still feel overwhelmed. You can be resilient and still need support. But when you're used to being the strong one, you don't always know how to admit that. You don't always know how to lay the burden down. So you keep carrying it. You keep pushing. You keep performing. And eventually, the weight starts to feel heavier than it should. Sometimes the test is not about proving how strong you are. Sometimes the test is about teaching you that your strength has limits. Not to embarrass you, not to expose you, but to remind you of your source. Because real strength was never meant to come from you alone. It was meant to flow through you. Surrender doesn't mean weakness. It means alignment. It means recognizing that you are not the foundation, you are standing on one. It means saying, I will do my part, but I trust you to do what I cannot. That kind of surrender doesn't shrink your strength, it stabilizes it. It keeps your confidence from turning into pride. It keeps your independence from turning into isolation. The strongest people often struggle with surrender because they are used to solutions. They are used to control. They are used to being the dependable one. But there are seasons where no strategy works, no effort feels sufficient, and no amount of planning can change the outcome. Those seasons are not random. They are invitations. Invitations to trust deeper. Invitations to release control. Invitations to lean instead of lift. When you surrender, you are not giving up responsibility. You are giving up anxiety. You are releasing the illusion that everything depends on you. You are choosing peace over pressure. And in that surrender, something powerful happens. You discover that you are stronger with God than you ever were on your own. Strength anchored in surrender becomes sustainable. It doesn't burn out. It doesn't crumble under unexpected weight. It doesn't need constant validation. It rests in confidence, not performance. The test may be revealing that you are capable, but it is also revealing that you are human. And being human means you were never designed to carry everything alone. When your strength is rooted in surrender, you stop striving and start trusting. And that is where true, lasting power is found. There is a level of responsibility that requires preparation most people never see. From the outside, elevation looks exciting. Promotion looks glamorous. Influence looks effortless. But what people don't see is the preparation behind it. What they don't see are the private battles, the hidden discipline, the unseen stretching that had to happen before the platform ever appeared. The test you are facing right now is not random. It is training. If you were elevated without endurance, you would collapse under the pressure. If you were given influence without character, you would misuse it. If you were handed authority without humility, it would corrupt you. That's why preparation often feels like resistance. It feels like delay. It feels like opposition. But in reality, it is development. Greater responsibility requires greater stability. You cannot lead others if you cannot lead yourself. You cannot guide people through storms if you panic in your own. So the test teaches you steadiness. It teaches you to remain grounded when emotions fluctuate. It teaches you to stay consistent when results are inconsistent. That kind of stability doesn't happen overnight. It is built through repeated challenges. Every delay is teaching you patience. Every closed door is sharpening your discernment. Every moment of loneliness is deepening your relationship with God. You may feel overlooked, but you are being refined. You may feel stuck, but you are being strengthened. The season you wish would end may be the very season equipping you for what you've prayed for. Think about the weight of leadership, influence, or impact. It's not just about talent, it's about capacity. And capacity must be expanded before it can carry more. If you pour more into a container that hasn't been enlarged, it overflows and wastes what was given. So the test stretches your container. It increases your emotional capacity. It increases your spiritual depth. It increases your mental endurance. Sometimes you want the outcome, but God is focused on the foundation. Because what you build on a weak foundation will eventually crack. But what is built on tested character will stand when storms come. The hardship you're facing is strengthening your foundation so that when elevation comes, you can sustain it. You are not just being prepared for success. You are being prepared to handle success. You are not just being positioned for opportunity. You are being shaped to steward opportunity wisely. That shaping process can feel uncomfortable because growth always requires change. But without change, there is no expansion. The responsibility ahead of you is bigger than you imagine. The influence ahead of you is heavier than you expect. And the impact ahead of you will require a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more grounded than you are today. That is why this test matters. It is not blocking your future. It is building the person who can carry it. There is a connection between resistance and purpose that most people don't recognize at first. When life pushes back hard, when obstacles seem unusually persistent, when opposition rises without clear reason, it's easy to assume you're doing something wrong. It's easy to think the struggle means stop. But what if the struggle actually means significance? What if the resistance is not a sign of failure, but a signal of purpose? Think about it. Resistance only shows up when something is moving forward. Nobody pushes against something that isn't going anywhere. Nobody tries to block what carries no threat. The intensity of the resistance often reflects the value of what's inside you. When there is purpose attached to your life, there will be pressure trying to suppress it. The strongest opposition doesn't come to people who are standing still. It comes to those who are progressing, growing, stepping into new territory. The moment you decide to rise higher, something will attempt to pull you back. The moment you commit to discipline, distraction increases. The moment you choose faith, doubt becomes louder. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. Resistance is strategic. It targets your confidence. It attacks your consistency. It tries to exhaust your energy so you abandon your assignment. If the enemy cannot destroy your purpose, he will attempt to delay it. If he cannot defeat you, he will attempt to discourage you. And discouragement is powerful because it works from the inside out. It makes you question what you once felt certain about. But here's the truth. The fact that there is resistance means there is something worth resisting. The struggle is acknowledging your potential. The fight is recognizing your future. The pressure is reacting to your promise. You don't face intense battles unless you carry significant impact. Instead of interpreting resistance as rejection, start seeing it as recognition. Something about your future is threatening to the forces that prefer you small, quiet, and inactive. The obstacles are not random, they are reacting to the direction you're headed. That means your path matters. Resistance also strengthens resolve. When you push through opposition, your conviction deepens. When you keep going despite doubt, your confidence solidifies. Every time you refuse to quit, you prove to yourself that your purpose is greater than your fear. The resistance you overcome becomes evidence of your commitment. The struggle may feel exhausting, but it is also revealing. It reveals how much you care. It reveals how determined you are. It reveals that your calling is not casual, it is costly. And anything valuable will require effort to protect and pursue. So don't shrink when resistance shows up. Don't retreat when opposition rises. Let it remind you that you are not ordinary. Let it confirm that your life carries weight. The battle is intense because the purpose is powerful. And the very resistance you're facing is proof that your future is worth fighting for. There is a difference between temporary strength and tested strength. Temporary strength shows up when everything is going well. It thrives in comfort. It depends on motivation, excitement, and visible progress. But tested strength is different. Tested strength is built in the dark. It is formed in waiting rooms, in silent prayers, in moments when no one is clapping and nothing seems to be changing. That kind of strength doesn't disappear when circumstances shift. It becomes part of who you are. Endurance is not glamorous. It doesn't attract attention. It doesn't always feel powerful. Sometimes endurance looks like simply getting up one more day. Sometimes it looks like choosing not to quit when quitting would be easier. Sometimes it looks like staying consistent when you feel unseen. But every time you endure, something inside of you solidifies. Quick success can create shallow roots. When everything happens fast, there is little time to develop depth. But when you have to wait, when you have to push through obstacles, when you have to keep believing without immediate results, your roots grow deeper. And deep roots create stability. Stability allows you to stand when pressure increases. Endurance shapes character in ways comfort never could. It teaches you discipline when emotions fluctuate. It teaches you integrity when shortcuts look tempting. It teaches you patience when outcomes are delayed. Character is not formed in moments of applause. It is formed in moments of adversity. When no one is watching and you still choose to do what is right, that is character being built. The strongest people are not those who never struggle. They are the ones who refuse to surrender to the struggle. They learn how to manage disappointment without losing hope. They learn how to process frustration without becoming bitter. They learn how to feel doubt without allowing it to define them. That emotional and spiritual maturity does not appear overnight. It is carved through repeated challenges. Every hardship adds a layer of resilience. Every setback adds perspective. Every trial teaches wisdom. Over time, you begin to notice that things that once would have shaken you no longer have the same power. Situations that used to overwhelm you now feel manageable. Not because life got easier, but because you became stronger. Endurance also builds confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet assurance. The kind that says, I have survived before. I will survive again. It gives you history with yourself. It reminds you that you are capable of more than you once believed. That self-awareness becomes unshakable. Tested strength lasts. It does not depend on perfect conditions. It does not require constant validation. It is steady, grounded, and secure. And the endurance you are building right now may feel exhausting, but it is creating a version of you that cannot be easily moved. A version of you that stands firm in storms. A version of you that carries peace under pressure. That kind of strength is rare. And it is being formed in you right now. One of the most powerful truths about your struggle is that it is not just about you. When you are in the middle of a test, it feels personal. It feels isolating. It feels like you are carrying something no one else understands. But the strength you are building now is not only for your survival, it is for someone else's breakthrough. There are people you have not met yet who will one day need your story. They will need to see someone who made it through what they are facing. They will need proof that endurance is possible. And your testimony will become that proof. The pain you are navigating today is producing wisdom that cannot be learned from books. It is shaping insight that only experience can teach. Think about the moments when you felt encouraged by someone else's journey. Their honesty gave you hope. Their resilience gave you courage. Their faith strengthened yours. In the same way, your perseverance will become a lifeline for someone else. The tears you cried in private will one day translate into compassion for someone who feels alone. The lessons you learned in hardship will become guidance for someone who feels lost. When you endure a test, you gain perspective. You understand fear differently. You understand doubt differently. You understand struggle differently. That understanding creates empathy. And empathy is powerful. It allows you to connect deeply. It allows you to speak words that truly reach people because you have been where they are. Your scars will not disqualify you, they will qualify you. They will show that you didn't just talk about strength, you lived it. They will demonstrate that faith is not theory, it is practice. When people see that you walked through difficulty and still chose hope, it will challenge them to do the same. Sometimes the only reason you survived something is because someone else will need to hear how you did. Your breakthrough may unlock theirs. Your courage may spark theirs. Your refusal to quit may inspire them to hold on one more day. That is how purpose multiplies. It moves from one life to another. The test is expanding you so that you can carry more than your own story. It is shaping you into a source of encouragement. It is positioning you to lift others who are weaker in the areas where you have become strong. And when you realize that your endurance has impact beyond yourself, it changes how you see the struggle. You are not just surviving for your own success. You are growing for someone else's freedom. The strength you are building now will echo into other lives. And one day, when someone says, I made it because I saw you make it, you will understand that every moment of pressure had a purpose far greater than you imagined. If this message blessed you, share it with someone who needs it.